Yo, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, hopefully you're having an awesome week. Today's Wednesday, which is basically just the third Monday in a row. Welcome back to HyperBitcoinization. This is another Bitcoin video. And today I just want to touch on HyperBitcoinization, kind of what it is, how we get there. It's the name of the channel, and you may find yourself as a Bitcoiner who's been in the industry for a while, still doesn't understand the term, doesn't know what it is, or maybe you just joined. You're within a couple weeks, a couple months of getting involved in this whole Bitcoin cryptocurrency action, and you just want a little bit more of an explanation. So that's what I'm here to do for you guys today. HyperBitcoinization, right? Basically, in short term, it is the time when the unit of account is labeled in Satoshis at that point, right? Because Bitcoin would have appreciated so much in value. The entire world demands that they want to use it. People are getting paid in it. People are saving in it. It becomes the main source of currency. Now, there's a lot of people who think that is definitely not going to happen. And there's a lot of people in the Bitcoin community who do think that that's going to happen. And I am one of those individuals. I do think that's going to happen. And before you go crazy on me, look, I don't think it's happening in 10 years. I don't even think that that's happening in 50 years, okay? But coming around to when the last Bitcoin is mined in 2141, which, by the way, the last Bitcoin is going to take, I think, 30 years to be fully mined at that point, because I think the last year, the last years four are just one Satoshi, I believe. And after that, it's just miners' fees. So, in simple terms, it is when Bitcoin has ruled to be the dominating currency. Everybody's using it. Everybody's getting paid in it. There may be some other floater currencies around or cryptos that people use for other purposes. But it's when Satoshis are used for everyday purchases. And basically, what happens is Bitcoin already itself is a black hole. You can say that, in a black hole, there's an area, a point of absolute no return. You cannot go back the other way. One could argue that that was the Genesis block. It didn't, Bitcoin didn't get killed in its younger days when the government or nation states should have tried to kill Bitcoin. At that point, it wasn't valuable enough. There wasn't enough demand for it. They thought it was just some silly web internet thing, right? They didn't do the best job at shutting it down that they could have. And so we are here today. And, we are 15 years after the white paper came out. A month from now will be actually 15 years that the actual Bitcoin code itself came out. The Genesis block was minted. Right? And as of right now, we are 820,087 blocks. Boom. So you can see we don't have many more blocks to go until the halving. We have 19,913 blocks remaining until the halving. So, you could say that we've kind of probably already hit that point of no return. Right now, the world's top 5 quantum computers can't stop Bitcoin. Right now, there's no way to get a 51% hack. So we're there, but we're not fully there yet. We're going to still have some battles, some hurdles that we're going to come to over the next few decades. And a big thing that's going to help speed this hyper-Bitcoinization up is inflation, which can lead to hyperinflation. And, America's experiencing it right now pretty big time. This debt spiral, so to speak. Maybe you've heard about it, maybe you haven't, but America is to the point right now where I think we might have even touched $34 trillion in total debt, and that's not even including all of the liabilities that we owe. It's an outrageous number if you go and look at it. Debtclock.com. It's a very fascinating website. A lot of people don't even know about it. But if you cruise your eyeballs through there for a while, you're going to be baffled. And basically what America is doing, or is going to have to do, is continue to print more money to try to pay for things that they need to pay for, to try to even get close to the amount of interest payments that we have on our debt. Our debt is so big as a country that basically we've maxed out all of our credit cards. We continue to get a new credit card to pay those credit cards off. The interest rate is high. We're getting more interest on top of our debt that we cannot pay back, and it's mathematically impossible for us to turn around and fix the problem that we're having right now. So that debt spiral will continue as we continue this, and the only way they can get themselves out of it is to print more money, which devalues the currency, which pushes more people away from it. And this is not just an American problem. You see hyperinflation in Venezuela and Greece. So it happens in places. And those people are walking into the grocery store with a wheelbarrow full of cash, and it's enough for them to acquire a loaf of bread, right? It's a terrible way to live. And for a long time, maybe Bitcoin helps the US dollar. America could be the last country to hop on, like I was telling you guys about yesterday, right? We're privileged because our stuff works. A lot of these other countries don't. So moving on to this next piece of it, though, I think another thing that amplifies this, which we're getting closer to now, one, the ETF approval. And that's not going to be the single factor, but the ETF approval will bring a certain amount of inflows into this space. We will do the same exact thing when we get a percentage of the gold market. We get a percentage of that real estate market. When we get a percentage of bonds, real estate, all that other stuff combined, even a small percentage increased over time, is going to end up being tons of money, tons of allocation dedicated to specifically Bitcoin, a big percentage of that, the crypto space. And that will create a super cycle or a God candle in many different aspects. So, over my course of Bitcoin, I think the biggest candle I've seen, and I meant to go back and check this out, was probably a $4,000 candle. And that might have been COVID. There was a big dump red candle during COVID, and I think that had been the biggest one. I think that was even bigger before any of the FTX and Celsius. I might be wrong about that. I'll have to double check. But when we see those God candles, $10,000 candles, $20,000 candles, $50,000 candles, you got guys like Max Kaiser talking about a $500,000 candle, right? Like God candles, and they will always up themselves in term of the God candle. Back in the day, a God candle was $50, $100, $1,000, right? We've checked those boxes off. There are a lot more God candles coming to create that super cycle that creates a super cycle, a super cycle, right? You continue that. And what you get out of that is a lot of FOMO, a lot of fear of missing out. And you're going to get that from a lot of people all across the world. And that is going to be a really big factor in getting this big push for hyper-Bitcoinization. It's one of those things that is gradually and then it's suddenly, right? And a lot of that has even come to realization over the last few months. And once that ETF hits, it's probably going to be a sell the news kind of event. And maybe Bitcoin price goes down for a month or two after that ETF is actually approved. But then we're going to get that uptick, and it's going to be gradually, then suddenly. And really, it's part of game theory also, right? Like this entire book right here, maybe you've read it, maybe you haven't. I haven't even finished it, but I know the thesis of it. Soft War, right? Which Jason Lowry, he wrote this book, but it's basically about nation states competing for hashing power. And it could be the soft war kind of thing where nation states are jealous. They want to compete with other nations, or they don't want to compete with other nations because they have more hashing power or they have less hashing power. And that itself will become a war of which nation has the most hashing power. That nation could most definitely be the most profitable, the happiest nations that there are. And then you get to Bitcoin being used as a unit of account. And of course, not Bitcoin, Satoshis at that point, right? And if you don't know, Satoshis are the smallest value of a Bitcoin. Each Bitcoin is broken up into 100 million different pieces. So you got 0.8 numbers later is a 1. That is the smallest unit of account. And eventually things will definitely be priced in Satoshis, and people will spend their Bitcoin. People will buy things with it, and people eventually will be paid. There are people getting paid in Satoshis right now, but that will become way more of just a standard practice, not a, hey, I would like to get paid in Bitcoin sort of thing. It would be a standard practice. And you know, the crazy thing that can happen with that, and who knows what direction it could go in, but there could be currency wars, right? Nation states that don't want to use Bitcoin, crypto, they don't want to get involved in it, but they're not gonna succeed. The nations that are smart will understand what is happening. It is understanding that there was a flip phone, now there's an iPhone, and you can still use a flip phone. It's just not going to provide much value for you in your life. It's not going to help you out all that much if you have a flip phone, right? So the smart ones know that that's the better option. They'll use that better option and expand on it, build on it. So that's another thing you're going to see happen a lot is the building process on Bitcoin. And actually, over the last year and a half, we've seen that quite a bit on Bitcoin for the first time in a long time. After Lightning, after Taproot, you know, we're getting into this state where people are now doing the ordinals, or there's NFTs on Bitcoin, right? A lot of different things happening on Bitcoin. BRC tokens. You remember the ERC tokens for Ethereum, right? The whole theory is shifting. And it's not so shifting. It's shifting with the majority of the community that didn't think this was going to be happening. But a lot of us knew this was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. Now, the big thing here is you don't want to be the last one to the party. You never want to be the person to finally learn about Bitcoin after you've heard about it for 45 years and you miss out on all of the savings you could have made, the investment you could have had, all the learning. You know, it'd be like somebody who is 35 to 45 right now and barely deciding that they want to touch a computer and use the internet for the first time. They're going to have a lot to learn. You know, so listen, that is my spiel on Bitcoin. Yes, I do think it's going to happen. The full effect of HyperBitcoinization probably won't be here for more than 100 years, in my opinion. But I'll take even the small HyperBitcoinization wins. So, you know, I'm going to say we're in HyperBitcoinization in the smallest factors. At this point, it's going to continue to have that snowball effect as it goes down the mountain. But please let me know in the comments what you think about HyperBitcoinization, when you think it happens, what is the price point for that you think. You know, for me, HyperBitcoinization is at least $21 million per coin, right? $1 per Satoshi. And you ask a lot of people, that's a small number. And you could get to the $3 billion mark per coin, and I know it sounds insane, just as 21 sounds insane, as a million sounds insane, but there's math that gets there, and it's actually quite crazy. So be thankful. If you're a part of this space, if you're a part of this movement, you're not only helping yourself, you're helping your future family, your kids, your grandkids, any foundations you want to spoil with Bitcoin in the future if you don't have any kids, however it goes. you're in a great space. You're putting yourself in a great position, and hats off to you for that. But guys, I just wanted to come at you with a quick video. This is HyperBitcoinization. I appreciate you guys coming back. If you liked this video, provided you with any value, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. It would help me out a lot. And please get active inside the comment space. I want to have conversations with you guys. I would even like to invite some of you guys on for a podcast. Anything like that. I think that's just the biggest part of this entire movement, right? Satoshi, it would have been very hard for him to do this if it wasn't for that community involvement. And trying to get the same thing here. That way we can educate more people, have great discussions. So for now, you guys continue to have a great night. Keep having a great week. Thanks for coming back. We'll catch you later. Peace out.